Here, if we can bring this up on the screen. This is a soil sensor, very low-cost soil sensor. Here's a couple of other sensors. This is an interesting one.
So the soil sensor could literally tell moisture, could tell what combination of fertilizers are working or not. You could look at it by section of the field, determine if you need to put more water into an area, or you need to mix more nitrogen in terms of your mix fertilizer, whatever.
And these sensors are getting smaller and smaller and lower cost. So this one right here, the sensor itself is on the middle of this chip. This is a prototype board. That chip in the middle is a Texas Instrument chip that runs an IPv6 stack. It has integrated wireless, and it's 99 cents. 99 cents.
You're on Moore's Law. It's 99 cents today. I don't need to tell anyone in the audience what it's going to be. In 3 to 5 years.
That's right. These sensors
disposable straight into the soil.
That's right. Eventually they will be tilled right into the soil. They'll be powered by the chemicals that are in the soil, or the heat in our body in the case of a sensor on a human, or the flex of your shoe will power these new low-powered sensors.
So from a farmer's perspective, you might double what you produce per acre, which has huge impact in terms of feeding the world, but also in terms of...
That's right. And we begin to see the application of machine to machine. So, for example, if this area of our cornfield begins to get more favorable conditions like sunlight or additional good weather, for example, then the cornfield can tell the irrigation system to turn the irrigation on and begin to operate machine to machine. So as
we have a lot less wastage. We talk about cutting down dramatically the cost, more efficiency, and very good for the environment as well.
And then we can monitor that here on our analytics page. So we're seeing the field area and the irrigation
across
system.
The whole country, or across multiple states?
That's right. I can drill out. I can take a look at the whole country. I can even take a look at our facilities. And here's where the fields can actually begin to notify the facilities in the areas of the country where we're having high output. We're going to need to schedule more people. We're going to need to schedule more machinery.
We're probably going to ramp up. Ready early or ready late. Right. The farmer can determine pricing. Jim, I've noticed that you've been doing a lot of this work at your home, and I appreciate it very much. I'm learning to fly a helicopter, and I flew over your house the other day, and I saw in your backyard with some big fences around it, doing long, green stalks there that obviously you're practicing this demo on. But Jim, there wasn't any corn on the stalks.
It's still early in the season, John.
Okay, I was just curious on that. Is that a high margin product for you?
Yeah, we were actually thinking about moving to Amsterdam, but in any case, all right. So let's go ahead and move on, John.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to get you in trouble.
All right. All right. We're going to take a look at the manufacturing environment. So this is an analytics page where we're taking a look at consumer reporting. Now, you know, we talk about the new social capability and listening to our customers with social. Well, here's a tweet chart showing all the customers tweeting about our cola products, and we see for the most part these are very positive. But if I go to a couple areas here in the country, I see that there are some negative tweets that are coming out. So
it's an entirely different way of measuring customer satisfaction issues, and then being able to combine this Internet of Everything and watch the number of industries, networks, data centers. What Jim's about to show us will go across.
That's right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go and pick up a sample or a couple of samples. Let me run my barcode application, and we're going to take this.
CWI Cola. I haven't heard of that.
Well, it's a Consolidated World Industries.
Okay.
And let me just go ahead and scan this. This sample came from the West Coast, and after we scan it, we can see.
So we scan the issue that occurs out in California.
That's right.
Then you're going to scan the issue that occurs in the Southeast.
Let's go ahead and scan this one from the East Coast. And we're seeing the transportation facility, the bottling plant, where the corn is being grown. And we notice that there's one area that both of these sodas came from that they're going through the same bottling plant. I'm going to go ahead and click on that plant.
So think about this concept. Over here on the far right, you're probably talking about local wireless capabilities, the decision literally being made out near the cornfield in the local community, and literally when you need more data, because right out the sensors gets more data, makes that decision, turns on irrigation, turns it off.
That's right.
Now this type of application has feeders from probably hundreds of different sources.
That's right.
And then you've got to bring that data together really in big analytics and quickly determine where your cross-intersection challenges.
Well, and in this case, we're looking at sensor data that's coming from the manufacturing floor. So
we're on that individual plant, the central
That's right. And we can see
only commonality.
And we see the paths that they took and the fact that there is some commonality here. They're going through this one machine. We can click on that machine, and we can see from the sensors that there's a problem with that machine, and there's a line speed regulator that's failed. Well, we can just click here to notify a technician, and we'll send a message to the mobile device for the technician in the field.
So any of us that are connoisseurs of soft drinks, which I clearly am, it's the ability to taste. Small tastes will change dramatically your acceptance of a beer or a soda.
That's right.
So finding this quickly and adjusting.
That's right. So you want your manufacturing line to be running efficiently. Well, here as the technician in the facility, I actually get a notification on my mobile device. I'm going to click here to view that. It brings up a chart or a map of the facility along with real-time video analytics that are coming from the bottling machine that I get on my mobile device. And then I can click here for an exploded view. I can even get instructions on how to replace that part that's broken and bring our line back up to speed very quickly.
So on the chart that Jim and I showed you earlier, 27% of the early take-up is in manufacturing connected industries, because in the average plant, automotive is an example of the 30,000 to 75,000 IP-enabled devices that today we don't know what to do with the data and can't isolate it down like it just...
That's right.
I got it, Jim.
All right, John, let's move on to the retail environment. And we'll finish up here. So I want to just stop here in the actual store for a moment. Grab myself.
I'm going to steal one of my favorite drinks from behind the CWI.
Yeah, the CWI people probably aren't happy about that. But in any case, here in the bricks and mortar environment, our customers are asking us, how do we begin to take the bricks and mortar and the online environment and bring them together? So on my mobile device, as I walk into the retail establishment, I'm getting a notification for an offer. And so it says, would you like 100 megabytes of free data added to your cellular phone account? And I'll click view offer to accept that.
So one of the major things as we gather data from the consumer, we've got to have a trust model. They've got to opt in, not opt out, and you've got to ask their permission. But when you ask their permission with something that's valuable to them, i.e. more bandwidth for a month from your favorite service provider, you combine that with the retailer saying, this is the way I'm going to push my product nearby, and it's kind of a deal where the retailer may pay the service provider, or the service provider may want, in partnership, the ability to capture that network.
And in this case, we're going to get an ad for the CWI Cola here. And once we've watched that ad on our device, then let me click here and you'll see that we're getting that 100 megabytes added to our account. But then it asks us, do we want to know where the cola is in the facility? I'll click on yes and accept the location information. And now we get a map that shows us where we can pick up the cola in the store.
And we could even go to self-checkout, literally doing that ourselves with our phone, being all of a sudden the credit card, if you will.
Now, let's move just for a moment into the back office, and we're going to take a look at some analytics that is coming from the network. So this comes from one of our recent acquisitions called ThinkSmart that allows us to take the location data of users and we can map it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pick up June here and we're going to look at dwell time. So here's the map of our retail store and I'm going to click on run and this will show me where people have dwelled in the store. So where our merchandising is working really well, or maybe where it's not working so well. We need to optimize that.
So think of a Walmart who's famous for their Saturday morning meetings. I was on their board of directors for several years. They literally review any exception stores that are out of sync in terms of the approach. Their board of directors and their top management are always walking their thousands of stores around the world. You're talking about being able to see every store in the world almost immediately. You're able to see what are the traffic patterns through. Then you're able to see when they stopped at a given location, did they buy or did they move on? And you could all of a sudden completely target that consumer in a way they would accept with trust in ways you couldn't before.
That's right, and this is retail, but the same technology goes for airports, warehouses, cities. As a matter of fact, this sensor right here, this is from a partner called Streetline, and this sensor goes into the pavement. It's got a 5-year battery and tells you whether there's a car parked in your parking space or not.
So you could be in Paris where, if our data is right, the average Parisian spends 2 to 3 years of their life looking for a parking place.
That's right, that's right.
And you could use it more effectively, but think of it back to the retail store. You could capture the data in the parking place. You can see when your customers visit You could time how many cars have come into that parking lot. Therefore, how many cashiers are you going to need a given amount of time later?
Okay.
You could actually begin to pick up and tie across multiple sensors, and again, with the consumer's permission, target them in a very unique way.
Yeah, the opportunities are endless.
Dramatically change customer satisfaction.
Now, John, to do all this, of course, as you said, requires an architecture. We brought a network diagram here. You will hear tomorrow Padma speak about the unified platform and their unified framework for dealing with this complexity.
Yes.
There's a tremendous amount of complexity because we see thousands, millions, if not billions of sensors at the bottom layer. We're making significant investment in the software that allows these low-power devices to connect to each other, form mesh networks, and report the data back.
You couldn't even bring all that data forward to a central cloud if you wanted to. That's not the bandwidth or the cost. So you're going to make decisions at the edge where appropriate.
That's right.
Where the networks, combination of data.
Do those machine-to-machine types of connections, tie that back through the field area network where we then tie in the mobility and give people access to that data, aggregating it through the core network and back into the data center where we can do the computing on it. So we'll hear more about the unified framework and how this is going to begin to help us to take care of this complexity that our customers are going to have.
Because our customers are really after using IT to enable their business. They want to pay less for it, and they want to have less operating costs, which is where the majority of their costs are. We're really talking about doing that together with our partners.
That's right, exactly.
Jim, I got it.
Thanks a lot, John.
Well done.